Good evening, everybody. Collin Cottrell here. Just wanted to record a quick AMA style video. I put it out on Instagram yesterday and on Facebook, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, that I was going to record this video. So here I am. It's 9:30 on Wednesday evening, and I'm coming to you with a few answers of your questions. So let's get started. These are from Instagram first, and then we'll move over to Facebook after this. But J. Matthew King, what do you wish you would have worked harder on that might have helped you in your 100-mile race? Um, Matthew, really honestly, I I worked my butt off. I worked really, really hard. Um, I hired a coach, and my coach gave me a great training plan. That training plan included all my runs, and then I also stuck to my lifting schedule. So I lift usually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and my running schedules were Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off day Friday, and then Saturday long run, Sunday long run, and then again Monday I would be off with a regular training day. So I worked really hard. I took it really serious. I kind of pretended like this was my Super Bowl, and I was like a professional football player training for his Super Bowl. It was like, uh, the weeks were going by, and I was putting in 100% effort every week. Now I did have a couple weeks in there where um, I was gone on a couple hunts, and I had to take those weeks off and just skip some of that training. But luckily, at that point, mid-November, when I took those weeks off, I was already a couple months into my training schedule, and I was already really acclimated to my training schedule and doing really well. So overall, yeah, I don't think there's anything I would have changed. Honestly, I worked my tail off, and the effort shows in that, of course. Number two, Jeremy Wheeler 30. Jeremy. Um, During your 100, when did you hit that dark place, and how did you come out of it? So that dark place was actually a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be. And you can hear more about my story about the 100 on Tyler Geiger's Knock Performance podcast. If you go to Spotify, or if you go to Apple Podcasts, the full podcast is there. It takes us from point A to point B all the way through the story. So if you want to go get more in-depth information, definitely go listen to Tyler's podcast with me. But anyway, Jeremy, that dark place was early on. I had the flu, and I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking anything the day before. That morning, the first loop, I had a lot of adrenaline. So luckily, the first loop was great. But after that, things really went to heck quick. Going into mile 30, I had a really bad stomach ache. Adversity was hitting me really, really hard, and things were not going good for me. I was letting a lot of things creep into my mind, like quitting, honestly. And at this point, I was just thinking, like, maybe it's just not my day. Maybe it's just this wasn't supposed to be about me actually completing this run, but me going down the journey of training for it, and all the changes I had to make and all the growth I had during that time of the journey. But I fought through it, and going into mile 40, I still was still in a dark place, honestly. But finally, after mile 40, things picked back up, and my stomach started to feel better. I was drinking Coca-Cola, which helped settle my stomach, and I got some Pepto-Bismol into my stomach as well. And at mile 50, going into mile 60, I was like a new man. So, and then from there, honestly, my last two loops, 20-mile loops, the last 40 miles were, I feel like, a couple of my best runs. So, yeah, that was kind of a crazy story for sure. Jenny Schaefer, training plans and dealing with injury. She says she signed up for a 50 in December. Awesome, Jenny. Congratulations on getting signed up for that. I know we talked in the past about you wanting to do a ultra as well. So good for you. Training plans, yeah. Basically, I hired a coach, and my coach gave me the training plan I needed, and he set me up for success. And he comes from a great lineage of coaches. There's a lot of great running coaches out there now because of ultra running becoming such a big thing. Man, you can find a great coach out there, and it's definitely worth the money. I think most coaches are around anywhere from $100 a month to $200 a month, in that range. So it's really not that expensive. And if you hire them for 3, 4, 5 months. That'll be sufficient for probably for an ultra for a 100-mile race. For a 50, probably even less. So I would definitely say to invest in a good coach. And now, as far and a good coach will help you deal with your injuries as well. I did have a couple times where I had some injury. I had an IT band issue. Halfway through my training, I didn't even know what an IT band issue was. I basically talked to my coach about it, and I did some research on the internet. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and that's when I really started taking my stretching and my mobility work even more serious than I was. I had been doing, 10, 15 minutes a day in mobility and stretching, but I upped that to 30, even 40, 50 minutes a day, and added sauna and some cold plunge stuff into it as well. So that really helped me out. And I would say that if you're a serious runner, that you should definitely take that part of it very serious. And also, my lifting schedule didn't really change. I stayed focused on upper body, lower body, and just full body training. So that I feel like that really helped me with my training and with this run. So John runs underscore John. John says, how long do you plan to last at the mid state? Yeah, good question, man. John is one of the directors of the Mid-State Mile, or also known as the Murder Mile. It's a 1 mile loop, last man standing event that I am signed up for in coming this June of 2023. So I am already signed up for another ultra marathon race coming up, and my answer for that, John, is that I plan to last longer than Tyler Geiger. Not to put any pressure on Tyler. Tyler and I will be crewing together. We'll be running together, I'm sure. And there's going to be a lot of great people out there from what it sounds like. Tyler's been, he's kind of a vet of it. He's been out there a couple times already. But my goal is to last longer than Tyler. So whatever that is for him, I'll be one more lap than him at least. That's my goal. And then Coach Cooper NY says, will you run 100 miles again? What were the surprises you encountered, if any? Absolutely, I will run 100 miles again. Already looking ahead and planning ahead on doing more ultra marathons and 100-mile races, and even races longer than that. So Moab is one of the goals that I have. Definitely want to do Moab 240. So, and what surprises did I encounter? I would say that some of the surprises that I encountered were that, man, you could, not that these were surprises, because I kind of knew this going in, knowing enough people around me that are ultra runners and do train for ultra running already and do ultra running events, but anything can go wrong. Like, you can get the flu the day before. That happened to me. You can twist an ankle, break an ankle, you can fall down, you can break a kneecap, you can get injuries. There's a lot of things that can happen out there. Some of these courses are very technical. Or some of these trails are very technical, mountains, roots, trees, bridges, water. There's just a lot that can go on. You're sweating, you're losing, your nutrition really quick. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong. And not that that was a surprise necessarily, but it can happen quicker than you think. And it can really wreck your whole day. And that's really why I want to do these hard things, is the opportunity that anything could go wrong, and I have to fight through that adversity and really come out stronger on the other side. So let's jump over to my Facebook questions. And Nancy Joe Adams says, what would you say was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome to toe the line? For me, I don't think there was necessarily a big hurdle. I mean, I guess mentally it's like one of those things, like I kind of let it creep into my head, like, what the heck am I signing up for? This is 100 miles, in roughly 24 to 30 hours. And but on the other side of that, I was like, you know what? Quit overthinking about this. Like, this is going to push you to become better in all areas of your life, whether you complete it or not. So that was kind of my thinking on that, is that even though it was a mental hurdle, I jumped through that hurdle quickly and just quit it. I didn't think about it, overthink it, and just started training and getting after it and doing my best. So in preparation, how did you make the time to prepare around your employment and daily obligations? Yeah, that's a great question, Nancy. because my schedule is super busy. But I got really intentional about it. I knew that I was going to have to cut some time on certain things, so I cut out jujitsu training. I cut out, just I didn't really watch much TV during this time. I stayed super dialed in on my work, and I was efficient in that. I spent a lot of time with my family and stuff, but I cut back on my hunting because this was during hunting season. So I cut way back on my hunting. I could have went on more hunting trips. I could have spent more time down at my hunting lease as well. And I cut a lot of that out. So really I had to just plan and prepare and be more intentional with my schedule. And honestly, that really helped me grow overall and helped me build a schedule that I like better now because of this preparation. So Cameron Johnson says, how many months and hours per week is training for a 100-mile race? Yeah, that's a great question. So on average, let's just say, man, I don't even know how. I mean, I trained for 5 months, roughly almost 6 months, because I did do a 5K and was training before that. So I personally took 5 months, and I think you can do it probably for 3 months if you really wanted to, but that's how long it took for me. How many hours per week? Well, I would lift for at least an hour a day. I'd do mobility work for at least a half hour to an hour a day. So that's at least 2 hours a day, during my training days. And then on my running days, it was at least an hour, if not 2 hours a day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for a lot of those runs. And then Saturday and Sunday, like, my run started out at 2 hour long runs to 3 hour long runs to 4 hour, 5 hour, into 6 hour long runs at the end. So there was many Saturdays where I was spending anywhere between 2 to 6 hours running during that day. And then on Sundays, same thing. Had to be really intentional with my time, and it was anywhere between 2 to 4 hours on Sundays for long runs, because a lot of times those Sunday long runs were cut in half of what my Saturday long run was. So Monica Effett, what shoes did you wear, and did you have to switch them? So I wore let me look here, I have my shoes right here on my Strava. They were the Ultra, I always forget the name of them. I ran in the Ultra Olympus 4s, and they were specifically for trail running. Really good shoes. I have wide feet, excuse me, and these are shoes that are built for wide feet. And honestly, the toe box in them is real wide, and I like that. And it has a really tough outer edge on the toe box, which was a game changer for me. There was a lot of roots and stuff on the trail for this run. Very technical, I would say. I'm not a runner, so I don't know if it was as technical as a lot of people say it. Maybe they don't say it's technical, but I felt like it was technical for a rookie ultra runner. And the Olympus 4s were great for me. I didn't switch them out. I switched my socks out twice, and that was it. Otherwise, I was applying a product called Salty Britches to me on a daily, on multiple times. Every time I'd come around for a loop, I'd put that on. It's basically a petroleum type based product with a lot of other really good stuff in it, to help me prevent from chafing and getting blisters. And I didn't have any chafing or any blisters. So I lied. I did have one blister, but that wasn't from chafing, wasn't from my feet rubbing together. It was from me actually hitting my toes. I have my second toe is kind of weird. It's longer than my big toe, and that one kept hitting roots with my shoes. So I ended up having a little blister area there that bubbled. It, honestly, it didn't even bother me. I didn't even feel it. I didn't even think about it. So a great question there. Let's see here. I think that was it for my questions today. Let me see here. Yep, that was it. I appreciate everybody with the questions. I kind of had a lot of fun doing this, actually. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, maybe learned a little bit of something, and I plan to do this again in the future. So if you guys have more questions in the future, stay dialed into my Instagram at Collin_Cottrell. It's a lot of times where I do a lot of my communication on social media. So looking forward to chatting with you guys again soon. Have a good day.